Welcome to the podcast. Today we're diving into the challenges of raising teens in an era of abundant privilege, where, giving them more than we ever had might actually weigh them down.
Yeah, that's such a fascinating point. I mean, we're talking about an environment where social media shows them everyone else's goodies and fuels that endless cycle. Yep.
Exactly. The discussion really zeroes in on how, even in well-off families, dots connect to issues like entitlement and a lack of purpose. It's almost
Right.
ironic, isn't it? Despite all the economic advantages, these teens are experiencing some of the highest rates of depression, anxiety, and even substance abuse.
And that paradox really stands out. Material abundance versus, a lack of emotional fulfillment. It's a classic case of more is not always better.
Yeah, it's like, if you pile on the assets without nurturing resilience or character, you might essentially create a brittle foundation.
Yeah.
The article lays out a set of warning signs for overindulgence, entitlement being the primary one, where kids start to believe, the rules just don't apply to me, won't.
Exactly. And that entitlement is often accompanied by a disconnect from reality. I mean, it's a bit of an echo of the old, it's not my problem mentality.
Right. And it goes deeper than that. These teens might develop, a lack of motivation, because every need is met without them having to earn it. It creates a sort of vacuum in terms of building work ethic and finding personal purpose.
Yeah, I get that. But isn't it also true that there are many parents today who struggle to balance providing comfort with instilling discipline? I mean, sometimes the lines get, really blurred.
Absolutely. And that's where Gottman's principles become so vital. The approach here is about emotional coaching and validating emotions over mere achievements. It's not just about, what they accomplish, but who they are inside. For instance, rather than just praising good grades, it's about saying, your effort and your perseverance truly matter.
Yeah, that seems like a powerful shift. Instead of making everything a contest of appearances or accolades, it's about building genuine emotional resilience.
Right. And then there's the recommendation to assign meaningful work and chores. It's like instilling a work ethic, assigning small responsibilities, maybe even a summer job, so they learn the value of earning something
Yeah.
for themselves. It's a fundamental lesson, right?
Definitely. Though I do wonder if sometimes too many expectations might feel overwhelming for a teen. Could there be a risk of them feeling, overly burdened?
Sure, that's a fair point. But, the idea isn't to overwhelm them. It's about striking a balance. The goal is to help them discover their purpose through guided discovery, not by imposing a rigid agenda.
Exactly.
It's more like a gentle push towards independence and accountability.
That makes sense. I also noticed the emphasis on fostering emotional intelligence. Building that skill seems to be the backbone for all the other strategies, right?
Yeah, for sure. The article stresses that nurturing emotional intelligence through emotion coaching is a huge predictor of success. It's about teaching them to process their feelings and navigate setbacks without thinking their whole world is falling apart.
And isn't it interesting how they frame sleep as a priority too? I mean, 8 or 9 hours of sleep sounds like common advice, yet it's often neglected in our fast-paced world.
Yeah, it's one of those base components that makes a huge difference, sort of like recharging a battery. When you sleep on it, it helps develop a stable brain function for processing emotions and handling stress. This is
Right.
particularly crucial for growing teens.
Definitely. And beyond that, the article also talks about social skills and community service, how these cultural experiences ground them in empathy and broaden their understanding of life outside their immediate bubble.
Right? The idea is that by exposing themselves to different communities, they start appreciating what many people face every day. It's a counterbalance to their potentially insulated environments, and that's where empathy and gratitude really bloom.
Yes, and I love how it ties into the suggestion of being emotionally present. It's not just about activities or chores. It's genuinely about offering relational support. Material possession can't substitute for that.
Exactly. The article highlights that the most important resource is emotional and relational connection. Beyond giving them gadgets and the latest trends, it's really about being there for
Right.
them. That consistent emotional check-in can make all the difference.
For sure. It's like building a safety net that cushions the blow when things go wrong, especially since these kids might be less prepared for facing adversity.
Definitely. And interestingly, it points out that too much privilege without these core values can actually get in the way of developing true resilience. It's like throwing them a soft landing that, well, never forces them to learn how to fly on their own.
Yeah, I like that analogy. A soft landing that doesn't quite prepare you for the real world. But I'm curious, do you think that all wealthy families fall into this trap?
Well, not necessarily all, but many are susceptible if they aren't mindful. The point is more about balance, offering the best of both worlds without letting one, overshadow the other. And the principles here serve as a blueprint to counteract those pitfalls.
Yeah, balance is the name of the game. It's a challenge, especially with societal pressures urging material success.
Absolutely, and kudos to research like Gottman's for shining a light on these issues. The whole thing rings true with the idea that relational wealth is way more important than material wealth in the long haul. Sometimes the best lessons in life aren't learned from what you have, but from how you handle shortcomings and setbacks.
And isn't it a bit ironic? In raising teens, some parents might think they're giving them a head start, but without the emotional grounding, it's almost like giving them a parachute that's never been tested.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't train the emotional muscles, the parachute might never open when needed. It's like, you're preparing them to glide through life, but without the core skills, they're left floating without direction.
That imagery really hits home. And what about the recommendation to set boundaries? I mean, it seems so simple, yet in practice, it's a real juggling act.
It really is. Learning how to set limits with teens while still allowing them to explore and make decisions requires a delicate dance. The guidance here is to ensure that they appreciate structure without losing their independence. And that balance is what builds a sustainable work ethic.
True, setting boundaries effectively teaches them that life has limits, and that sometimes not everything goes their way, an essential lesson for mature decision-making.
And it all ties back into fostering a sense of purpose. Whether it's through chores, jobs, or community service, these experiences help them see the tangible outcomes of their effort, rather than just expecting instant gratification. That, in turn, fuels a drive that truly matters.
And it's refreshing to see an approach that really considers emotional grounding, rather than just piling on material rewards.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it comes down to nurturing that inner resilience. It's like building a well-rounded athlete. The physical strength might win a game, but it's the mental toughness that wins the championship.
I totally agree, even though sometimes I think some argue that being overly strict might stifle creativity. What do you think about that angle?
That's a good, respectful critique. But remember, it's not about strictness. It's about guidance and, being emotionally available. It's more a support system than an authoritarian regime. It's like giving a painter the right brushes rather than dictating every stroke.
I like that analogy. A freedom to create within a supportive framework. It really opens up the conversation about how to empower kids without stripping away their individuality.
Exactly. And if we circle back, all these principles, from emotional coaching to setting healthy limits, are designed to keep teens grounded and prepare them for life's inevitable ups and downs.
It's a comprehensive strategy that reminds us that yes, privilege can be an anchor unless balanced with values like resilience, humility, and compassion.
Absolutely. And that's the takeaway. The price of unchecked privilege might be high in emotional debt. Instead, investing in emotional intelligence and balanced parenting can, truly shape well-rounded individuals ready to tackle real-world challenges.
Right on. This conversation really underlines that it's all about balance and being present, not just physically but emotionally. A challenge indeed, but one that can redefine the next generation.
Exactly. A head start in life isn't just about material goodies. It's about the inner wealth of emotional resilience and relational strength.
Yep.
That's the secret sauce for thriving in today's fast-paced world.
What a compelling discussion. It leaves us thinking, Are we really equipping our teens with what they need to succeed beyond school grades and material possessions?
Right. And that's the million-dollar question. Thanks for joining in on this deep dive. Balancing privilege with purpose. Now that's a topic that will surely keep parents and educators on their toes.
Exactly. Catch you next time for another insightful discussion.